The Consciousness Code Series, Episode 8 Near-Death Experiences, Evidence of More? The Consciousness Code Series, Episode 8 Near-Death Experiences, Evidence of More? In this episode, we explore the profound phenomenon of near-death experiences, NDEs. Are they hallucinations of a dying brain, or glimpses into a deeper reality? What does science say? What do experiencers report? And can the line between life and death teach us something about the mystery of consciousness itself? The edge of life-death, the final boundary. Or is it? For millennia, humans have wondered what, if anything, waits on the other side. Is death a wall, a doorway, emerging into something vast? In recent decades, thousands of people who came close to dying, some declared clinically dead, have returned with stories. Stories that stretch the imagination and challenge science. They speak of tunnels, of brilliant light, of floating above their bodies. They describe life reviews, timeless awareness, overwhelming peace, and the presence of something indescribable. These are called near-death experiences, or NDEs. To skeptics, they're the hallucinations of a brain in crisis. To experiencers, they are real, more real than waking life. What if they're both? Today, on the Consciousness Code, we step into the liminal space between this world and whatever might come next. Through stories, science, and ancient insight, we ask, are near-death experiences evidence of something more? Defining a near-death experience. So what is a near-death experience? Psychologists and researchers define it as a set of subjective phenomena occurring in people who come close to death or who are clinically dead and revived. A typical NDE may include a feeling of peace or euphoria, a sense of leaving the body, seeing a tunnel or light, hearing music or voices, meeting deceased relatives or spiritual beings. A panoramic life review, a decision or boundary before returning. But not all NDEs follow this sequence. Some involve voids, silence, cosmic unity, others, fear and confusion. The term near death can be misleading. Many experiencers were clinically dead, no pulse, no heartbeat, no brain activity. Some were revived minutes, or even hours later. A 2014 study published in Resuscitation found that nearly 40% of cardiac arrest survivors report conscious awareness during the period of clinical death. These are not rare events. Millions worldwide have reported NDEs, and they occur across cultures, religions, and ages, even in children and atheists. That raises a profound question. If belief systems vary, why do so many people report such similar experiences? What exactly is being experienced, and who, or what, is doing the experiencing? The neuroscience of death and survival. What happens in the brain as we die? The body begins shutting down, blood flow decreases, oxygen drops, the heart stops. Yet, in this physiological shutdown, something strange may occur. A study by Dr. Jimo Borjigan and colleagues in 2013 found that rats, after cardiac arrest, exhibited a surge of brain activity, higher than normal waking consciousness. Could the human brain, too, produce a final burst of organized awareness? Some scientists propose this surge could explain NDEs. The dying brain floods with endorphins and neurotransmitters. It discharges memories, emotions, and imagery, a dreamlike montage, a defensive hallucination. But this doesn't explain everything. What about people who flatlined for minutes, sometimes longer, yet return with coherent, vivid experiences? Studies by cardiologist Dr. Pim van Lommel document NDEs in patients with no measurable brain function. The question then becomes, how can there be consciousness without a working brain? In 2022, a landmark case was published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience. A man's brainwaves were recorded as he died. Surprisingly, patterns associated with memory recall and dreaming were detected after cardiac arrest. The boundary between life and death, it seems, is more fluid than we thought. Is this just the final flicker of the candle? Or is it the beginning of something else? These questions invite us to rethink our assumptions. That consciousness ends with brain activity. That death is silence. Because in NDEs, something speaks, and what it says feels more alive than life itself. Patterns across cultures. Near-death experiences are reported across the globe by people of all ages, backgrounds, and belief systems. And yet, while the details may vary, the core features often remain astonishingly similar. In the West, people report tunnels of light, life reviews, angelic beings, and reunions with deceased loved ones. In India, some experiencers describe being sent back by a deity or a scribe, told it is not yet their time. In Buddhist cultures, individuals speak of entering the bardo, a transitional state between life and rebirth. Among indigenous tribes, NDEs are often seen not as anomalies, but as sacred initiations, returns from the spirit world. In secular societies, people describe the light or a presence, even if they don't label it as God. Children too report NDEs, often without any prior exposure to religious or metaphysical concepts. Their accounts include floating, meeting beings, and being told to return. Researchers have identified core universal themes: separation from the body, journeying through a tunnel or void, encountering a being of light, experiencing unconditional love or review of one's life, reaching a boundary or decision point. What varies is the interpretation, the language, the symbols. A Christian may see Jesus. A Hindu may see Yama. An atheist may see a radiant presence they can't explain, but the emotional tone, peace, clarity, transcendence, remains consistent. This raises a question: are these visions shaped by culture? Are these visions shaped by culture, or do all paths lead to the same archetypal space? Perhaps the core experience is universal, and what we see there is colored by the stories we've been given, or maybe the stories were given to us because they remembered the space we would all one day visit. Scientific skepticism and critique. Not everyone is convinced. To many scientists, near-death experiences are best explained through biology, psychology, and cultural conditioning. The surge of brain activity after oxygen loss. The release of endorphins and DMT-like chemicals. The brain's last attempt to preserve consciousness through a vivid internal story. It's elegant, it's measurable, and to some, it's enough. But cracks exist in the theory. Take veridical NDEs, accounts, where people describe details they couldn't have seen. A man blind since birth reports colors and hospital tools. A woman floating outside her body recounts events in another room, later confirmed by staff. How does a hallucinating brain gather verifiable data from beyond the senses? Another challenge. NDEs occur even under full anesthesia when brain activity is absent. Some report watching their resuscitation, details only medical staff would know. Critics argue memory may be reconstructed after the fact, but some accounts defy this explanation. And then there's the emotional weight. Most hallucinations fade, but NDEs often leave lasting impact. Trauma survivors rarely recall delusions fondly, but NDEs inspire awe, purpose, and transformation. Still, skepticism is healthy. Science demands rigor, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. But NDEs aren't just claims, they are experiences, lived, remembered, and often unshakable. So we're left at a crossroads: dismiss the unmeasurable, or expand our definition of what consciousness might be. Life review and timeless awareness. One of the most profound and often reported features of a near-death experience is the life review. It's not just memory, it's reliving. People describe seeing every moment of their lives, sometimes from birth to death, not in sequence, but all at once, and not just from their own perspective, but from the perspective of those they affected. Every kindness, every cruelty, every word, every silence, felt, witnessed, understood. And yet there's no judgment, only insight. A deep awareness of how everything connects. Some say they saw their actions ripple outward, how a single choice shaped countless lives. Others describe a loving presence guiding the experience, not condemning, but showing. Time in these accounts seems irrelevant. It bends, compresses, expands. Some experiencers say it felt like hours, others a blink, but all agree it felt true. Neurologists suggest this might be a hyperactivation of autobiographical memory centers, that as the brain dies, it releases a cascade of stored experience. But the quality of the life review is what puzzles researchers. It isn't chaotic, it's coherent, intelligent, transformative. Why would a dying brain, in its last gasps, construct a loving, multidimensional review of a person's moral and emotional legacy? Could this point to something more? An intelligence beyond the individual? A mirror held up by consciousness itself? Or is it the mind's final gift? A reckoning of meaning before the great transition? Whatever the explanation, the life review remains one of the most awe-inspiring aspects of the near-death experience, and perhaps it is also a whisper that nothing we do is ever lost, that every moment matters, and that in the end, we may become the witness of our own becoming. The tunnel and the light. One of the most iconic and consistent features of a near-death experience is the image of a tunnel, and the radiant light that awaits at its end. To some, it's a symbol of transition. To others, a literal passageway between worlds. Experiencers describe the tunnel as dark, warm, peaceful, drawing them forward not with fear, but with deep familiarity. And then, the light. Not just brightness, but presence. A light that knows you, loves you, is you. Some say it feels like coming home, others like dissolving into something greater. But what is it really? Neuroscience has theories. As oxygen drops, the visual cortex may fire irregularly, producing a narrowing of vision, a tunnel. The brain, deprived of stimuli, some say it feels like coming home. Others may generate light as part of cortical disinhibition. But the emotional power of these visions is what's hard to reduce. People don't just see the light, they feel it. And in that feeling, many report a clarity, a peace that forever alters their relationship with life and death. This isn't merely a visual hallucination. It's a full-body, full-being encounter. Some see religious figures, others none at all. The light often speaks, not in words, but in knowing. You are loved. You are not alone. You are eternal. Why would a dying brain create comfort instead of chaos? What evolutionary purpose? Does such peace serve at the edge of extinction? Perhaps this light is a biological illusion, or perhaps it's a window into something real, a radiance not from the brain, but from beyond it, a threshold glowing not with explanation, but with invitation. The presence and the voice. Many who return from near death speak of a presence, an indescribable awareness, or being that they encountered in the light. It is not always visible. Sometimes it's just a voice, a presence that fills the space around and within them. It is described as overwhelmingly loving, all-knowing, completely accepting. For some, it appears in the form of a religious figure, Jesus, Krishna, an angelic being. For others, it's formless, a sense of profound intelligence that radiates peace. It spoke to me without words, many say. It asked me what I had learned, not what I had accomplished, but what I had learned. These encounters are often life-altering, not because of what was said, but because of how it felt. A merging of self with something beyond self, an intimacy so vast, it dissolves the illusion of separateness. Neuroscientists speculate that this presence may be the brain's projection of a higher self, a symbolic representation of internal wisdom, emerging under extreme neurological stress. But experiencers are clear. It did not feel imagined. It felt realer than real. And it asked questions, gave guidance, delivered comfort. Sometimes it gave them a choice, to stay or return. Other times the decision was made for them. But always, there was the sense of being seen in totality and still loved. Could this presence be the essence of consciousness itself? A reflection of our deepest being, manifest at the edge of death? Or is it the first glimpse of a larger intelligence, waiting patiently on the other side? Transformation after NDEs. What happens after a near-death experience isn't just a story. It's a transformation. People return changed, not slightly, not subtly, radically. Survivors report a profound shift in priorities, values, and personality. Fear of death often vanishes, compassion increases, relationships deepen. Many leave behind material ambitions and focus instead on service, creativity, and inner growth. Some change careers, others change religions. Some reject religion entirely and adopt a more universal spirituality. They describe a renewed sense of purpose, an urgency to live authentically, to love deeply, to forgive easily. These aren't just anecdotes. Longitudinal studies show consistent psychological changes in NDE survivors: decreased fear of death, increased empathy and altruism, heightened intuitive or psychic experiences, decreased interest in material wealth, a sense of interconnectedness with all life. Some even report new sensitivities to light, sound, and emotion. Not all changes are easy. A surprising number of NDE survivors report difficulty readjusting to ordinary life. Their values may no longer align with their environment. Their experience may be dismissed by friends or doctors. Integration becomes a spiritual challenge of its own, and yet the transformation endures. It's as if they brought something back, not a secret, not a doctrine, but a new way of seeing. It's as if they brought something back, not a secret, a knowing that life is more than flesh and survival, that consciousness is more than thought, that love is not a feeling, but a force. Could this transformation be the true gift of the near-death experience? Not proof of heaven, but proof that we are more than we believe. Consciousness beyond the brain? Is the brain the source of consciousness, or just the receiver? This is the question that sits at the heart of the near-death experience debate. Materialist science says the brain produces consciousness, like a fire creates light. When the fire is out, awareness ends. But NDEs suggest something else. That consciousness might persist beyond the body, that awareness continues, even when the brain goes dark. Some researchers propose models of non-local consciousness, the idea that the mind is not confined to the skull, but part of a field, a fabric that transcends biology. Dr. Pim van Lommel, a Dutch cardiologist, studied hundreds of cardiac arrest patients. His conclusion? Consciousness may be fundamental, not emergent. Neurosurgeon Dr. Eben Alexander, once a skeptic, had his worldview shattered after his own profound NDE. He now speaks of consciousness as primary and the brain as a filter, not a generator. Quantum physicists like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff propose that consciousness arises from quantum processes inside neurons. If true, this could support the possibility of awareness outside classical brain states. Could the brain be more like a radio? When the device breaks, the signal remains. These are still hypotheses. We have no definitive proof. But the testimonies of experiencers push us to ask, what if we are not our brains? What if the mind uses the brain, but is not confined by it? If so, NDEs may not be anomalies. They may be revelations. Signs that consciousness is not a flicker, but a flame that can pass through dimensions, a spark of something eternal, mystery, meaning, and what comes next. We've traveled through tunnels of light, voices of love, and memories that stretch beyond time. But in the end, we've traveled through tunnels of light, voices of love. Near-death experiences don't answer all our questions. They deepen them. Are NDEs glimpses into another realm, or visions crafted by a fading brain, evidence of soul, or the ultimate projection of mind? The truth may be beyond what we can measure. And maybe that's the point. Because even without certainty, these experiences offer something profound: a renewed reverence for life, a softened fear of death, a feeling that we are part of something greater. Maybe NDEs aren't about escaping death. Maybe they are about awakening to life. They remind us that the boundary we fear may not be an ending, but a transition, a door we've walked through before. So what comes next? That's a mystery only death can fully answer. But in the meantime, we can live differently, more gently, more openly, more awake. And if NDEs are even partly true, then love, connection, and awareness may be more fundamental than space or time. So until that final journey comes, Live like everything you do matters. Love like it's what you came here for. And listen closely, because in quiet moments, you may hear the whisper of something vast, calling you home. Next time on The Consciousness Code, we explore, is memory the root of identity? Until then, stay curious, stay conscious. If this stirred something inside you, subscribe, like, and share this with a fellow seeker.